Hello everyone, welcome to Train Me Buddy. This is Siddharth. In today's video, we'll go through subquery. Subquery is a query inside another query which allows us to retrieve data from multiple tables in a more efficient and concise way. With subquery, we can perform more advanced and complex calculations easier than a single query having complex joins. So today we'll learn how to create subqueries, different type of subqueries, and the use cases. So let's get started. So what will you learn today? We will understand what is subquery. Then we'll be seeing how to use subquery along with select, from, where, and having clauses. Then we'll understand the different type of subqueries like single row subquery, multiple row subquery, correlated subquery, and nested subquery. So let's get into the details. Let's understand what subquery is all about. A subquery can be defined as a query within another query, and the outer query is called as main query and inner query is called as subquery. Subquery allow us to perform complex operation on data and retrieve information that may not be easily retrieved with a single query. Subqueries can be used in various ways, such as we can use it along with select, from, where, and having clauses. Also, we can use subquery along with update, insert, and delete statements. So let's understand this using the SQL query. For this session, I'll be using MyStoreDB, which we have also used in my previous videos. I'll be putting the script for creating this database and tables in the link provided in the description below. So let's start with the simple subqueries. And let's understand how to use subquery in where clause to filter data. So for this, let me take the employee table. So let me first see the data using select. So let me execute this query and I have the employee information along with the department ID. So I'll be using this as part of the filter criteria. So let's say I want to filter the data of the employees and get the employee records who belong to the department marketing. For that, I can use the subquery along with the where clause. So let me have the query as, so here I need to have where, and let me have the department ID in, and I need to start a bracket and end a bracket. And inside this, I can have another query, which will be getting the department information from department table. So for that, let me have select, let me have the department ID from department table where department name equal to marketing. And let me execute this query. And here we have the 4 records who belong to marketing department. So this is how you can use the subquery along with the where clause. So let's have another example of subquery in a select clause to perform calculation. Let's say I want to have the customer first name, last name, and number of orders they have placed. So for that, I can have the subquery to get the number of orders from the order table. So for that, I need to have a subquery. Let's say I want to have it like this. So I can have start bracket and end bracket. So please remember the subqueries can be written inside a start bracket and end bracket. And let me have select count and let me put the count star from, and I need to have the sales table. So let me have sales table, which is having the all the sales transaction performed by different customers. So from sales as S, where I need to have a condition where it should be having a matching customer ID in the both sales and customer tables. So let's have S dot customer ID equal to C dot customer ID. And let me give an alias name as, let's say, number of orders. And let me execute this query. And here you can see that I have all the customer information along with the number of orders they have placed in the store. So as you see, there are also some customers having no orders. So it is showing as 0. So this is how we can use the subquery along with select clause to perform any calculations. So now let's have a subquery which can be used along with the from clause to create a derived table. So for this, I'll be using the product table and let me execute. And I am getting the product name and product price. Let's say I have a requirement to get the product detail which are having the item price greater than the average item price of all the products in the store. So for this, let me have another subquery to get the average item price from the product table. So I am having a subquery and having the alias as T2. So, and let me join the first T1 table with the T2 table, which is a subquery. So let me have a inner join, and I can have a on T1 dot item price greater than T2 dot average price. And let me execute this query. And here you can see that it is getting 5 records. And let me add the average price as well so that we'll see whether it is greater than the average price or not. So let me have average price from T2 and execute it. And as you see here, the average price is 123.3, and we are getting all the products which are having the item price greater than 123. So this is how you can use the subquery to use along with the from clause, and we can consider the subquery here as another derived table. Now let's see another example of subquery using having clause. So here I am going to get the department name and sum of salary for each department by filtering out the departments whose average salary is less than the overall average salary of all the employees in the employee table. So for this, I am getting the department name and sum of salary from employee table and department table by joining with the department ID, and I am grouping the department name. So for this, let me execute this first query first, and I am getting the grouped data for each department and getting the sum of salary. Then I am having the having clause to have the average salary less than, and I am having a subquery which is getting me the average salary for all the employees in employee table. So let me execute this query together. And now we are getting the departments and the sum of salary for whose average salary is less than the overall average salary. So this is how you can use the subquery along with the having clause. Now we know the basic about the subquery. So let's understand different types of subqueries. So we have different type of subqueries such as single row subquery, which returns only one row of data and usually used along with the where or having clause to filter data. Then we have the multi-row subquery. This type of subquery returns multiple row of data and can be used in where, having, or from clauses. Then correlated subquery. It is a subquery that references one or more columns from the outer query, and these type of subqueries are used to filter data on the results of the outer query. Then we have the nested subquery. A nested subquery is type of subquery which is placed inside another subquery, and these type of subqueries can be used to perform more complex calculations, or if you want to use it in the filter criteria. So let's understand these different types of subquery using SQL query. Now let's categorize different type of subqueries. And let me start with single row subquery. And here, let's say I have a scenario where I need to get list of employees whose salary is greater than the average salary of all the employees. So for this, let me take a ready query. And here I am getting the data from the employee table where the salary of each employee is greater than the average salary of all the employees. So for this, I have a subquery which is getting the average salary from employee table. And if I execute this query alone, then you can see that I am getting only one row with the average salary. So this is called the single row subquery. And if I execute this query, I am getting all the employee records who are having the salary greater than the average salary of all the employees in the store. Now let's understand what is multiple row subquery. And for this, I'll be having an example which will be getting the employees who are from marketing and purchasing department. So let me have the query as. So here I'm getting the select query, which will be getting the records from employee table where the department ID in. So here I am getting the department IDs belong to marketing and purchasing department. So let me execute this subquery alone. And here I am getting two department ID. So here I am getting the multiple row, and this is considered as the multiple row subquery. And let me execute this query. And here I am getting the data for both marketing and purchasing departments. So now let's understand how to write correlated subqueries. And for this, I have taken an example which will be getting the list of employees whose salary is greater than the average salary of all the employees in their respective departments. So for this, let me have the query as. So I am having here the where clause with the salary greater than the average salary from the employee table. And here I am specifying the condition that the department ID of the subquery and the outer query should be matching. So let me execute this query now. And here we have all the records from the employee table which are having the salary greater than the average salary of their respective departments. Now let's have the nested subquery. So for this, find the most recent sales date for each customer at the store Santa Cruz Grocery. So let me take a ready query. So here I am getting the data from customer table, and here I am doing an inner join with a subquery. So here I am getting the data from the sales table where the store ID equal to the store ID from the store table with the store name as Santa Cruz Grocery. So here I am using another subquery to get the information. And I am having the group by with the customer ID. So let me execute this query. And I am getting the customer ID and sales date, which is the maximum sales date for each customer. Then it will have the inner join with the outer query. So here I am having the customer table with the alias as C, which is being inner joined with the subquery or virtual table, which is getting the customer ID and maximum sales date from the sales table by matching the store name as Santa Cruz Grocery. So here I am having the alias name as S for the subquery, and I am joining with the customer ID from customer table and the subquery, which is considered as the sales virtual table. So let me execute this query. And here I am getting the list of customer name along with the recent purchasing date or sales date. So this is how we can categorize different types of subqueries. I hope today's video is helpful for you. I have kept all the scripts used in this tutorial in the link provided in the description below. Please like, share, and don't forget to subscribe the channel Train Me Buddy and hit on the bell icon so that you'll be notified with the new and upcoming videos. So if you have any doubts or suggestions, please feel free to put it on the comment below. Thank you.